Hey, how is everybody?
Hello.
We are coming to you semi-live.
What, live for
It's
us?
live for us from Chris's house. That little shake you have is not an earthquake. It's just because we're on a table that we're not usually on. So bear with us as we try to do this remotely. We have we're going to do a couple of these from here, right?
Well,
Maybe?
we're gonna have to do a few.
Well, I don't know if it's a have to. I think it
Well,
could
that's
be a
kinda
could be a
nice.
want to.
It depends on the birds and the dogs and
We'll see how
trucks.
it goes. Yeah, y'all can give us some feedback on it and let us know how that goes for you guys as we explore different options of filming as we try to adapt to our family lives.
My daughter's caregiver gave birth to their beautiful baby girl on Sunday. So for the next 6 weeks, Wednesdays I have to be home early. So we are going to have to make a few adjustments. And Ed was kind enough to um, pack some stuff up and come over. We're going to do it on the porch. So that'd be good.
Why not? It's a beautiful day. It's been raining all day. It let up, and
It's now starting to lighten up a little.
Feels fantastic out here.
It does. It's a great day to be outside.
Good wine drinking weather.
Isn't it?
It's too wet to do anything out there. So
There's
might
no
as well.
pressure to do yard work or to climb a tree or to do anything like that. So you can just drink wine.
That's right. And well, I guess we need some wine to do that, don't we?
You didn't forget the wine, did you?
Luckily,
great. Fantastic.
luckily I remembered, Chef. So we're gonna be okay.
Well, I abandoned you, so it was hard for you. You had to do
I
everything
had no,
yourself.
I had no
instead of-
supervision.
You didn't have anybody to help you lug all this stuff.
Yeah, the table is a little shaky, so
It is a little shaky.
We're gonna have to be careful there. Earthquake.
Well, normally we smash things a lot.
Yeah, that's
So
true.
this is.
Well, we thought it'd be fun to do some bubbles. Chris and I were talking about a couple of different white options, and Chris said, "You know what? We haven't done bubbles. Let's do bubbles." I think it's been mostly reds for the most part, and it's gonna be fun to do some what I would call seasonal beverages. You know, when I think about bubbles,
Yeah, nice.
it's always
Well
nice
done.
weather, and that's surprising because the way I drive.
I mean,
The
I
fact-
mean, that's why I can't believe it was that soft. I mean, it was, and not just driving, but we had to go down a flight of stairs. You had to shuffle everything around. Well done. That's
So
a pro right there.
we're going to start
Thank you.
with a little bubbly from Italy called Prosecco. Most people know Prosecco. It is a region, as a matter of fact, and as you can see here, we have a DOC, which is a controlled area of Italy. It's in the northern part of Italy, and it used to be Prosecco was just kind of a random bubbly beverage. Could be any of like 30 grapes. There was really no organization involved, but people still loved it because stylistically it was within a window, so to speak.
Mhm.
But Prosecco wanted to be more organized and more controlled, not in a negative way, but more honed in on a style.
Well, it's also, I think, easier more reputable when you enter so you don't have all the
Yeah.
peripheral yahoos throwing whatever out there.
Right.
You make sure you get the
Absolutely.
legitimate people, right?
You're absolutely right, Chef. This is more about getting a little bit more prestigious and respect that they rightfully deserve. I mean,
Yes.
they didn't have to change a lot. What they really had to do was just kind of like reel themselves in a little bit.
Yeah, it's more regulation. I mean,
Yeah.
the people that ended up in this, they didn't change their method or their
Right.
style or their vineyards. They just like, hey, can we
Yeah,
keep some of those fellas
Sure.
out of here, that kind of thing,
right.
that are pouring Sprite in here? And,
Yeah. Absolutely. So when you open a bottle of Prosecco, you have an expectation of what it's going to be, just like if you open a bottle of champagne or cava, where these regions are regulated not to restrain creativity, but to kind of dial everybody into a style. And with the first thing
It's
they
really
did,
more for the customer.
It is,
It's not for
absolutely.
the winemaker.
100% for the
It's
customer.
for the customer, so you feel good if like you're at the if you're at the wine shop and you see one thing that's $20 and one thing that's $18, you're like, oh, what could be the difference?
Right.
Well, the DOC could be the difference.
Absolutely. And so they whittled it down to what grape that they say best expresses this region, and that is the Glera grape. And this is a negociant from they're called Gooseneck. They do all kinds of cool stuff. They have offerings from 5 or 6 different countries. So
Gooseneck's awesome.
Yeah, they do a great job of allocating, discovering, or maybe not discovering, but allowing us to discover different parts of the world under their label. And the negociants of the world are important. They're just not as, I don't know, people feel like they got to have a direct connect with the actual winemaker, and I get that. But negociants they allow us to explore the world of kind of the unknown, or these places that might not ever get discovered. A negociant can go in there and discover these places and bring them out. You know, and this is
when
very,
you dig down deep, like what
Yeah.
you're talking about, you really are getting a deeper connection with the winemaker. You're allowing more winemakers
right.
to be in the pantheon of the top people that normally would not get that opportunity.
Absolutely not. They're not the already discovered, already household names. This actually does, like Chef's saying, bring people to the forefront. And Gooseneck won't put their name on something they don't feel good about. They're very consistent across the board. They have a portfolio of like 15 or 18 different wines, and I've yet to have one that I wasn't impressed by. And their price points are fantastic.
Well, it's kind of like we do a lot of David Lynch wines. David Lynch never made a wine in his life, but you see his name on a bottle, you know it's quality.
Yeah.
And you can feel good about buying that. Same thing with Gooseneck. Gooseneck may not be laboring over their barrels, but you can rest assured it's a stamp of quality, regardless of where it's sourced in the world or what the grape varietal may be. I mean, it's a comfort.
Yeah, and just kind of like we don't make wine, Chef, but we sure do track it down.
Well, and rightfully so. I think that's the way it should be. I mean, some people are so many things have to have a confluence to really have a chateau or vineyard to bottle to shelf kind of thing. I mean, there's only a few hundred people in the world who have that blessing.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of things that play into that. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with talent or grapes.
Sure.
So
I was just doing a taste through with Levi, one of our reps, and he brought the Uva. The Uva is a distributor, and they specialize in Italian wines, but not exclusively Italian wines. They do Georgian wines and Croatian wines.
Fun.
Kind of off the radar stuff, but everything that they as a distributor tend to present to the customer, although they didn't make the wine, they went out and found wines, made a portfolio that they believe people will appreciate and fall in love with. They have been in. They're the ones that support Di Marie. Everybody knows we had that.
Di Marie,
the Barolo producer. We had him live and in person 3 years ago, and then we did the virtual during our COVID era, where we did a live Zoom in with them. And Di Marie, what a wide range of talent
all over the map. And Di Marie has several. I mean, they're one of the few people who have had multiple placements on your chef table tasting.
That is absolutely true. But it's Uva Imports that was able to introduce them to us, and so I was enjoying doing a taster with them. And Uva, I think very highly of them. They don't produce wine, but boy, they discover it and they get it to us. So that's
how
important.
It should be. Where would we be without all these people going out there and finding these things? I mean, you can't leave your day job,
right,
and go run around, run around
Big
the world,
trying
to find.
As nice as that would be.
We need to work on that. Maybe that could be a day job.
We do need to work on that. But so let's talk about this wine, Chef. Obviously we see it's sourced from someone great. We already know that we're probably getting into something that we can boldly just buy blindly, but tasting through it, it lives up to the expectations.
It does. And what I love about this, and this may be a good or a bad thing, is the amazing bouquet on the nose of this.
Mm.
Proseccos to me, I hardly ever give them a good whiff.
Yeah, I agree.
They're Proseccos.
They're kind of shut down on the nose. Yeah.
They don't have a nose. They have an effervescence and they have a
Right.
finish, but this has a bright, citrusy, floral nose,
is,
which
yeah.
is, to me, I mean, it's like, wow.
Mhm,
I mean,
yeah.
that adds another element to this wine that you wouldn't expect.
It's like when you're zesting for desserts and stuff. When you're just trying to get that zest.
Even a little apple, even like if you're coring an apple with some lemon, and you always put lemon in your apples before you make your apple pie.
Yep,
And it's
yep,
great.
Yep, it is, and it's all that, and it's apple, and it's pear, and it's citrus. It's all these beautiful things.
It's
and,
amazing.
and surprisingly dry.
Bone
I was,
dry,
when you were talking about that nose, I was like, okay, this is going to be a little sweeter than I like, but a lot, sometimes Prosecco's can be on the fruitier side, but not necessarily sweet. I think this is one of those cases where it's fruity, but it's not sweet.
Well, and the kind of fruit really dictates this too.
Mhm.
I mean, because if we say fruity, especially in whites, I mean that opens up a real smorgasbord of fruits. But the style of fruits on this are dry fruits.
Yeah, I agree.
And so it's not, like a mandarin orange and all those other syrupy
Sure.
style
Yeah,
fruits. It's
right.
they're very bright.
Yeah,
fruits.
you associate mandarin orange with syrup for
Yeah.
sure, because no one on
But a lot
our,
of Proseccos out there remind me of mandarin orange.
Sure, yeah, I totally get that.
Not that that's bad. I was just, you have to be
It's just
careful with that sort of thing.
Just a difference of flavor profile. So we got something light, dry, fresh, citrusy. What are you pairing with it, Chef?
I don't know. I don't have enough wine to really make a good recommendation on that.
Maybe this will help.
Thank God you're here. Thank you. Because
Just
I was
in
wondering,
the
how am I
nick
going
of
to
time.
eat this and then not have anything
That's right.
to rinse it down with? All right. So we got some of your favorites here, old Chef Ed. We got some beautiful smoked salmon. I've been kind of on a smoked salmon kick. I love this company.
Yeah, they've been doing.
It's a company.
They've been doing us right.
Yeah, it's a company out of Nova Scotia, Atlantic Salmon. But these are a group of 3 chefs. They quit their job and started a smokehouse. And
Wow.
so, anytime you have someone, like chefs who are really focused on quality and the processes,
They already know the market.
they know the market
They
and
know what it's missing.
exactly. And these are not like
Mhm.
these aren't auto part guys from Cleveland saying let's sell some salmon. I mean,
Right.
these are some professionals who care about it.
How many times as a chef? I'm sorry to cut you off, but how many times as a chef have we been looking for that ingredient and we cannot find it?
Can't find it.
Can't find it. It's
Not out there.
But you know as a chef how to make it.
Yes.
You just don't have the time to
Like,
do
what
it.
we're gonna have build a salmon
Right.
smokehouse
Right.
out back
You
on the
you just
parking
don't
lot?
have the time
I mean,
to do
you
it.
can't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
And first you have to cure it, and then you have to brine it, and then you have to smoke it, then you have to hang it. I mean, where can you do
Not
it?
even to mention the initial product of the fish.
Sure.
Of
course.
And
Pristine.
I don't. Here's the thing. We certainly this comes to mind because we just had the chef's table where you're using smoked roe,
Yes.
and it was trout roe, but it's not just enough to have smoked trout roe. You have to have a quality roe to start with.
If you don't, you end up with what you start with.
Yeah.
And that's a mantra. You're only as good as what you start with. No matter what intervention a chef does, you cannot take something that's inferior and manipulate it to be pristine.
Right.
You simply can't do it. You can elevate.
You can elevate it. You can hide
Yeah.
imperfections.
but you can't make it what
Yeah.
it's not.
You-
And
exactly.
like Caviar Star, we talk about this ad nauseum, rightly so, because when you have people who understand the curing process and the care at that level,
Right. And
I
so same kind of angle here.
same focus.
We've got, but with smoked fish instead of caviar.
Instead of the caviar, we've got this beautiful smoked fish, wild salmon, and we're pairing this with the American Butcher chorizo because I love a little spice
Surf and
with
turf.
our bubbles. It is a surf and
Surf
turf.
and turf. I love it.
But we love a little bite. We want a little spice because Prosecco can handle spice.
Absolutely.
And this is going to be flavor packed, Chef. We got spicy chorizo. We've got smoked salmon. And
Yeah.
who loves you?
You do?
Cornichons.
Cornichons, my
So we've
favorite.
got a great pop of acid and vinegar on the cornichon.
The greatest.
And a
pickle of
little
all time.
lemon emulsion. So I think this has got a lot going on. It's going to complement these complex bubbles really,
Only
really
one
well.
way to know.
Well, let's find out. Another problem with being at home is one of my other daughters and my dogs already got half of this. So I had to wrestle enough away for you to have your tasting.
Basil's a beast.
Basil and Oscar, and of course my middle daughter Isabel, who's like, "Oh, chorizo, yum 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 yum." So, this is a treacherous area here where we're normally isolated at work, but see, I love the interplay of the smoke and the spice and the acid with this, and the lemon pop from the emulsion.
Absolutely. And surprisingly, maybe it's not to you, but the pickle really, really does work with the Prosecco. I love, the classics that Chef and I kind of grew up with, which thank God we grew up when we did, because there are, no one teaches
We were
classics.
lucky, yeah. No one does
teaches
anymore.
classics anymore.
No one
but-
teaches foundations anymore. They only teach the fluff.
But smoked salmon and poached salmon would always be served with capers, onions, and eggs. And you have a lot of this going on here, Chef. The cornichon is kind of like the caper. You got
Yes,
that pickled
the
briny.
yeah,
the
briny. Yep.
You got some lemon there. You got the emulsion, which would be in form of
That's
a
all you.
liquid egg in a sense.
Yeah, that's all you there. I want you to have extra.
Unbelievable.
But
That was worth driving 3 blocks for.
your devotion is not gone unnoticed.
Chef lives right down the street from the restaurant. Well, so do I. We're just on.
If I weren't so lazy, I'd walk or ride my bike. But
Yeah. It sounds like a great idea, but we never do it.
well,
We're 1 mile.
actually, I have done it a couple times. That's why I don't do it anymore.
I did it 3 times, I think.
That's why I don't do it anymore. There's a lot of surprise. You don't notice it when you drive to work. When you walk home from work at night, there's a lot of characters you don't notice.
Oh, yes.
I mean, there's a lot of characters. You wouldn't think how many characters.
Well, Andy
Would
Griffith
live-
made a living off the characters of
You
Mount
wouldn't think how many characters would live in the proximity between here and there, but and not that I feel pretty good where I am anywhere I am, but I don't want to deal with characters. I just worked all day and all night, and I don't really want to finish my night up with a character. So that's really more than anything.
The emulsion with the Prosecco,
The
it's
fat
like a
really helps.
lemon.
Yep.
Like it's like biting into a lemon.
And I went over the top lemon, so I only did maybe a tablespoon worth of this emulsion, but I had a full juice of the lemon and a tablespoon of emulsion.
It's crazy how those interplay.
And I wanted the lemon to really be a cut through on the spice and the smoke, but I didn't know because I haven't had this gooseneck, but I've had gooseneck stuff, but I didn't realize how lemony this would already be, and it doesn't compete, it complements. And I think it's because you have so many other flavors bringing it all around. So much fun.
That I'm telling you, the cornichon and Prosecco is the big surprise for me.
You know what this means, don't you?
What?
That big can of cornichons getting open tomorrow.
Finally.
Happy days.
Finally. Cornichons are the greatest thing on earth. When we were at the Undercurrent working for Ben Roberts,
Poor Ben.
I probably accounted for 2 or 3% of his food costs
Right.
just in cornichons. God bless that man. Okay.
Hey, you were worth it.
We did have a good time. That was one of the best times of my life. That was a great time working.
It was outstanding.
Being with so much talent just I learned so much. Okay, so, and I learned so much about wine there.
That was what I take away.
Wine Spectator Excellence Award for how many years? Like 10? 12?
every
I don't
year
know.
they were open.
Yeah.
I mean, Well, not the first couple, but
Yeah.
Ben really leaned on me for the menu stuff, and so
Ooh.
I was really, um, I had a very forward role, with menus and sourcing and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But Ben was such a mentor to both of us.
Mm.
But I take away the wine knowledge I gained there as like
unbelievable.
beyond our our friendships and our laughs and
Yeah.
and I learned a lot being
And smoking in the alley.
smoking in the alley. And I was such a little child then too. I'd get so obsessed with whatever few things I had to do, and Ben would always say, "I wish all I had to worry about was my station."
Yes.
So he really prepared me for
That's-
restaurant ownership
yeah.
by sitting my toddler self down and putting me in my place. He never did it insultingly.
No,
of course,
no, just as a.
But as a mentor.
Like, hey.
As a mentor, it's like,
Open-
hey, there's more to it.
Yeah.
Look around.
Yeah, instead of having those blinders on.
And I was able to learn so much from him about the overall operation of a restaurant. But the wine knowledge, we were blessed to have Ben Roberts on.
That was really. That was
outstanding. It was, and what I love too is he didn't put a wine list together and rest on his laurels.
Oh no, it was very active.
It was active, and it was always wine features and specials, and of course, we did our, good Lord, Ed, this was in 2003.
It was early.
We were doing the 3-course, 3 wine pairings then. I mean,
Yep.
now it's all the rage. We were doing that 20 years ago.
Yep.
God, that was 20
And an open down kitchen too.
Right?
Ooh. Does that count as
Did
a
you
curse
just
word?
know damn doesn't count?
Gosh.
But there
We
you
made
went.
it
I just stopped
20,000
twice because I
episodes.
just wanted to say a word twice and I didn't. But you just.
I'm pushing the borders here. I'm getting there.
But I mean, because you can say that
One of
on
these
the
days.
radio.
One of these days, it's gonna happen.
It can only be a word you can't say on the radio.
And the only reason it's a big deal is because we cuss every other word when we're off air.
Yeah. Just so you know.
As my mother can attest to.
I mean, those are, but they're words, aren't they?
They are words. They're just not.
They're
proper.
effective.
They're not proper for
I
what
think
we
so. They
do.
are.
They are
study
effective.
after
But
study.
when they're used properly. When they're just used to be used, they're just trash.
Study after study after study says that people who curse a lot
Are drunk?
are drunk and have a wasted intelligence.
No, you're right, Chef. We're
No, I just say that to make us feel better about our dirty sailor mouths.
Okay, so Prosecco was absolutely beautiful.
Over the top. The
Beautiful,
Prosecco
beautiful.
was over the top.
Yeah,
Delicious.
under $15. Unbelievable. Now, this is the one. This is the one I've been sitting on this for a while, and we probably should have tasted this a while back. But just how things go. When I pick these 4 wines,
You get
I don't want like 3 or 4 cabs at a time. I want to space it out.
That's they don't understand
And-
the planning. I mean, you
Yeah.
can't just go, here's 4 great wines. I mean, you
Right.
can't do that.
Yeah, but this, I've been really excited about. We've been on the Paso Robles path. In
Yeah,
In
Southern
2020,
SoCal's
we hit a lot of Paso Robles, and I would say that we would be amiss if we weren't dealing with what I would consider the biggest name from Paso Robles,
They are.
Eberle. Now, Eberle is German descent, German name, it means boar, and hence their little wild boar there. And they do all kinds of great wines, all kinds of varietals.
Wonderful blends.
This happens to be their cab, and Chef, what was it? What did you have at Trio? Was it their blend?
It was
their
a
red
blend. It was a red blend, and it's funny. I had this family that would come up from Winston every Wednesday night for like 5 years. They would drive past all those great restaurants in Winston, come to Mount Airy, eat dinner, and they always did it up. It's always 3 courses or whatever, and like I could never take it off the list,
Right.
Because they drank 2 bottles every Wednesday night.
Yeah.
And like I changed my list every week.
Yeah.
And it would be wild and all over the place, but I could never take Eberle off because they love that red blend. Of course, a lot of other people did too, but I mean that was like
Was it like the wild boar or something like that?
So,
It had a name.
I'm
to it,
so old
but
I
it's a
can't
blend.
remember, but it was like a GSM or something like that. It was one of those style blends, and it was it probably had some cab in it, but it was a traditional It was more of it was a California style blend, not a French style GSM, but it was outstanding. And of course, it was a great food wine. All their wines are great food wines. I mean, they're always so soft and subtle and but flavor, but delicious, just like this.
Have you tasted it
I
yet?
have.
Yes. It's
I
nice.
mean, it's this is not what I was. I tried the cab from last year when you brought it in,
Yeah.
and it was good.
Yeah.
But ooh,
This is
something else
silky,
right there.
Soft.
Silk.
This is
This
and
tastes 10 years old.
and it's got a it's got all the fruits, the spices. But there's like this, I don't know, it's almost like a caramel mousse or chocolate caramel mousse flavor.
There's a ton of licorice and Twizzler on the nose, and it's not on the palate, which is bizarre. But this wine tastes 10 years old. It's silky.
It's
It
dangerous.
is smooth. It does not taste like a 3.5,
Yeah.
4-year-old.
Yeah.
Cabs take longer. I mean, a 2 or 3-year-old cab can be reckless. But this is so refined and polished already.
Yeah, and I find that I love Paso Roble wines because they really do. They do have a distinct flavor, and I find that their cabs tend to be higher tone, more red fruits.
Red.
This has got a lot of dark fruit.
So, it's so funny. I listen to a lot of
It's
videos.
dangerously slick.
It's really.
You can just. I'm tempted to just turn it up, and I don't usually do that with cabs.
No one's stopping you. It's not. There's nothing stopping you
Cheers.
because it is so smooth. It's so silky. It's so refined. I can't
That is a steal.
get over its refinement
Mhm.
at such a young age. I mean, you would normally have to pay for another 5 years
Yeah.
to get this
Right.
level of
Sit on
refinement.
it. Yeah.
Especially sun ripened Paso Robles. I
Yeah.
mean, it's like
Right, yeah.
it takes longer for
It
those
seems to, yeah.
because they're
It seems-
such.
yeah, they seem
they're
really,
big,
really
tight.
tight,
It
yeah.
takes a longer for SoCal fruit to unwind.
Mhm.
What a steal! What a great winery.
Mhm.
It's just another testament to the
We did those.
people
We
like
did
this.
those intercept the Woodson ones,
Woodson.
and they were beautiful. They were high toned. I think that is certainly something to think of if you're looking for something on the brighter side. But if you want Paso Robles flavor, but I would say more refined,
Yeah.
you got to look to what I would consider the forefathers.
The forefathers,
You know, like
the pioneers.
The pioneers, yeah. And this is absolutely everything that I wanted and more.
Well, and Eberle may have had the first shovel there.
I
mean,
they've
like
been there
in
a
terms
minute.
of
Yeah.
in terms of
I think
this
they were,
quality of wine. I
I'm
mean,
pretty sure they're back there in the 70s, if I'm not mistaken.
Well, what if we're mistaken? What if these first couple of sips were all just a
We could be
dream?
totally off. They might.
I mean, that Prosecco's been known to cause hallucinations. So
Right.
let's try again
Let's-
to make sure.
just to make sure, we'll have another glass. Cheers, chef.
Cheers to your
All
health.
right, we also need to figure out what's these pretty little birds in front of us.
Well, I had a couple of robins over there have been giving me trouble, so I barbecued them.
Are they eating all your worms?
Yeah.
Hard to have a worm farm with a bunch of robins.
I'm telling you what, I've never seen so many birds in my
Good
life.
Lord, what you've got tons of stuff sprouting, chef.
It's going to be a banner year for
What
the
is that
yard.
right over there?
Those
Is that
are-
hosta?
It is hosta.
Wow, yours are up early.
My yard's up early. I mean, it's green. It's budding. It's flowing. It's going to be a great year in the yard.
Absolutely. Now back to the birds.
All right, so we've got some gorgeous quail. Palmetto Farms, of course.
South Kakalaki.
South Kakalaki, right outside of Sumter, South Carolina. The oldest producer of squab, quail, and pheasant in the United States. Been doing it 1800s.
We've been very fortunate to have them at the chef's table.
What a
many
great
times.
partner they are, even though I've never met them. But
They keep giving us great
they're
birds.
great birds. Poussin.
Mhm.
Poussin,
Oh, yeah.
Poussin. I got corrected the other day. It was embarrassing.
Yeah.
Anyway, I stuffed these with a basically a Wagyu meatball.
Wow.
I made a Wagyu meatloaf meat and stuffed these beautiful Palmetto Farms quail
They've
with
never
them.
been happier.
And I slow roasted them and then finished them at the last few minutes of roasting with some of that 10-year balsamic.
Chef, there's one piece.
It's for you. Yum yum.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, how great would Wagyu stuffed quail with a 10-year balsamic glaze be with this silky, delicious cab? Let's find out.
There's only one way to know.
I mean, we could have it totally wrong here.
Mm-hmm. We still have time to recover and put a bologna sandwich in their box.
I've got some bologna. We'll call it mortadella.
Oh, I love mortadella, though. Fancy bologna.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yes. What a killer combination.
You gotta take a sip. You gotta take a sip with that. Our man, Saturday night at the chef's table, was his second Saturday in a row at the chef's table.
Mm.
So much pressure. The quail was his favorite. Of course.
He was asking me if we'd give up a recipe for it. I said, well, that's going to be kind of hard because Chef doesn't have
I don't want to have a recipe.
recipes. He just has techniques.
I talked him through it.
Oh, good. He'll figure it out. He's a wise man. Very successful man.
It's always embarrassing when someone asks me for a recipe. Because, I mean, I haven't had a recipe in 35 years. And I'm such a hack. I just throw things together.
Mm.
But I always feel like I should be one of those polished chefs. One of those test kitchen guys who test everything for months before they put it on their menu. But, you know, honestly, I just figure something out that morning.
Well, that's because these dishes come from your soul. They don't come from a laboratory.
You know, that's delicious.
And that's why people come to see you all the time.
Well, it's a humbling thing. We see a lot of new people. We see a lot of repeats. This last couple of weeks been really humbling. How we've
crazy.
latched on to what you and I are trying to do up there, and it's really encouraging. You know, you get tired, you get a little crispy. You know, I'm prone to burnout.
Well, let's
But then you get things like that happen, and it's invigorating. You know, it lights a new fire. You're like, you know what? Maybe people do get it.
Friday night, completely different menu than Saturday night.
Yep.
You had, of course, you're running a full restaurant with a different menu at the same time. You had a wine pairing dinner on Friday night and Saturday night, two totally different menus. You had two people that were at both.
Both for
So
different
none of the
reasons.
dishes were the same. None of the wines were the same.
It's crazy.
And you had someone that had done the chef's table the Saturday before. It was like double dip night. It was the craziest thing to have that happen at the same time. And this Saturday's already sold out.
This Saturday's already sold out. And last Friday, you know, our Friday night thing, just the owner and their friends, no pressure there.
No pressure at all. Just
And the
people
Saturday night
that-
people, the repeats,
just
only
the
our
people-
best customers, you know,
Yeah.
best friend, no pressure there.
Yeah.
Well,
I mean, what could possibly go wrong?
I didn't even need to think about it.
Good thing. You might not have been able to pull it off.
I love quail.
Wonderful.
Mm.
Mm-mm-mm.
Very underrated.
You introduced me to quail to American accents. You did a lot of quail there.
Tons.
Mm.
We did quail and antelope and elk,
Oh yeah, pheasant,
bison, pheasant,
kangaroo,
oh,
emu,
emu, rattlesnake.
and
Yeah.
elk.
Love the elk.
Yeah, elk's my favorite. I think.
Elk and antelope are my favorite. Best meat out there.
Yeah, they're really clean, really delicious.
But they don't lack on flavor. It is counterintuitive because when we eat meat, we want fat.
Yeah,
We want marbling. Fat equals flavor.
yeah, they don't.
You
need
want
it,
the
though.
high, but they don't need it.
They don't need it. Yeah,
The flavor's over the top, but leanest thing in the world.
yeah, I agree.
Mm-hmm. Crazy.
Well, Chef, you've outdone yourself.
This is great. I'm glad we got to spend this time outside together, drinking wine and eating.
I'm just glad we don't have to make any money doing this. The ownership's okay with us losing our ass on this. Oh gosh, is the ass cuss word? No, it's a donkey. So
No, because you can. Yeah, well, and you can also say it on the radio.
That's right. So gosh, I almost ruined it.
Golly
twice.
gee willikers.
But Chef, you're going over the top with these.
Well, here's the theory. The people who do our virtual tastings and who follow us and support us don't just get their tasting kit and run off into the sunset.
That's a good point. That is true.
We have a relationship.
Yeah.
There's lots of wine and food and other things.
Oh yeah. That never
changing hands. So if we're going to do a quail on a tasting kit, it comes back to us fivefold on the relationship strengthening.
Yeah.
Because I would rather do a quail and have this experience with this beautiful wine and it translate into furthering our relationship long term.
Yep.
I mean, I think that's not unusual.
Well, are you worried about our relationship long term? Because I don't think it's on the rocks.
Well, you and I's relationship's 32 years strong. And we haven't gotten divorced yet.
God, we're old.
We're so old.
But you're not as old as me.
Good Lord, I can't imagine.
You're only
being
in
as
your
old as you.
40s.
I can't even fathom being your age.
Oh, and by the way, we're down for the cabin thing. We're gonna slip away.
We're gonna slip away for a couple
fishing.
of days. We're gonna fly fish. We're going. We rented a cabin out in the middle of nowhere. It's got a hot tub and a giant grill, and we're gonna cook out. And we're going to drink and play games and fly fish.
Our special ladies are going to be there.
Yep. And we're going to take a disproportionate amount of wine and cheese, and we're going to have a great time. It's been a long year. Let's go have some
When
fun.
was the last time we fished together? Was it last November? Not this past one, but the one before? It was a year and a half now?
It was 2019.
Mm-hmm.
It was November 21st, right
Or
before Thanksgiving.
We're pulling in those marlins and whales.
God, we caught a lot of big fish.
A lot of big trouts.
We caught a lot of big trout that day. But in our group, we caught over 60.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the 5 of us.
It was impressive.
And I don't know if y'all do a lot of fly fishing, but if you catch 60 fish in a day, I mean, it's a trophy day. It's a banner day. You don't ever do that. A great day on the water is 7 or 8 fish.
Oh, by the way,
And if you go out and catch 7 or 8 fish in a day, you've had like the best day of fishing in your life. I mean, we all call it 15.
I almost lost both my legs. We were in the icy cold waters of
It
Bannerel
was cold.
without insulated waders.
Well, actually, you had an insulated wader. You
If
didn't
those
have any
were-
long johns underneath.
If those were insulated, I'd hate to be in non-insulated because I could not feel my feet for days.
Well, I forgot my long johns, but my wader, I guess my waders were a little more comfy, but I couldn't feel my feet for a while, but that's why God invented wine. Remember how great we ate on that trip?
We did. Yeah.
We drank well, we ate well, we caught
Slept well.
a ton of fish. Yeah.
Gosh.
I fell asleep on a chair one night and slept for 10 hours.
Yeah,
I
was
didn't move.
exhaustion.
A day on the water in the sun,
Yeah.
you don't sleep better than that. I'm excited about our trip.
Yeah, it'd be phenomenal.
And that's when I will enter, during our trip, I will enter the realm of your age
The decade.
on the day of.
You'll finally enter the decade that I'm in. Well, enjoy
Please
these.
carry
Enjoy
me
this
home.
last month.
Carry me home.
Enjoy this last month. I'll have a little walker with tennis balls on it for you.
Yeah. Well, Mrs. Wishart is running 20 this Saturday. And then she got her
She just
marathon the
ran
week
16.
after. She ran 18
18.
Saturday.
Oh, overachiever.
She's running 20 this Saturday. Excuse me. Yeah, her marathon's next week. I mean, the week after this. So I'm looking
Unbelievable.
forward to having her back in our life.
Yeah. Yeah.
That the amount of training that goes into that is just staggering.
It takes
staggering.
takes a lot of sacrifice,
Yeah.
that's for sure. And she's it's so impressive though that she always follows through. You know, like there's a lot of people that get
she's
into that
tenacious.
training.
She's
Like
tenacious.
this guy, they never complete it. She's a finisher.
Well, and even when she's miserable, I mean, she'll be cussing and screaming. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And that's what she does.
Yeah.
And I don't have that. Some things I have that, but I don't have that. Like, if there's something I absolutely, I don't know, do it.
Yeah.
Is she not like this? She said she can do it. She doesn't. No,
Yeah.
It's remarkable.
It is. She's a
Now, if I said I'm going to finish this bottle of wine,
he will.
no matter what,
He will.
we will finish it. I mean, we have that kind of devotion.
Hey kids, we appreciate you hanging out with us, discovering wines with us.
Two great ones again. Wow, what two amazing wines.
They're totally different birds, but they are delicious birds. And we do miss seeing y'all in person, but we're glad that we can do this together. And we appreciate all your support along the way. And we will catch you next week.
Next week. And happy Easter.
Oh yeah, happy Easter.
We won't see you again till next week. Well, we will have a very special holiday between now and then. And
That's right.
many blessings onto you and all your families for this holiday Easter celebration.
Absolutely.
I guess we just had Passover too. So
That's right, yeah.
good.
All the big things. Good Friday's on the way. See you, everybody.
Take care.